Greetings. This is another tutorial in the topic of classes for chapter 6. And basically, today I'm going to do a problem number 2. Previously, I did problem number 1, where we did the car class. This one is going to be a little bit different. This one is going to be a circle class. So, since we know what classes are right now, we're going to create a new project in Java. In NetBeans. So again, we use Java with Ant, Java application. Click Next. Call this one circle. Excuse me. Make sure that this is selected and click Finish. And so it creates a class named circle for us. So the first thing, we're going to read the assignment. Now you know how to read the assignment and how to follow along. So I'll not read the whole thing. I'll just follow along straight after. So the first thing that we will have to do is declare the fields attributes. Alright, so for this one, it says write a circle class that has the following methods. That has the following fields rather. The first one is radius, a double, so they give you data type for it, and then pi, a final double, initialized with the value of 3.14159. Now, as in the previous class, when I talked about declaring the fields, we're gonna make these ones private as well. So the first one is gonna be private double. It's gonna be called radius. Make sure I type correctly. And the second one is gonna be private final double. Now, what the word final means, it basically means that it's gonna be constant. So the number pi never changes. So it's already calculated, and we prevent people from touching it and in the code and modifying it in code by calling it final. So whatever you have as a constant, you always say it's final. Final int, final double, whatever it is, final string. If you don't want people to mess around with it or modify it in the code, you just call it double, final. So final double pi, and we'll set it equal to 3.14159. Alright, so now that we made our fields, the next one is we're going to build our actual objects. So it says here, the class should also have the following methods. Constructor accepts the radius of the circle as an argument. So this is a one argument constructor that accepts the radius as an argument. So we're gonna make public. So a building a circle object. Building circle objects, because we're gonna have two constructors. So first one is gonna be it's gonna be public circle, and it takes one argument, and then argument will be radius double, because we have it as a double there, radius. Okay, and in this we're gonna say this dot radius equals to radius. Alright, And then it says the second build no argument constructor. So second it says constructor, a no argument constructor that sets the radius field to 0.0. So no argument constructor, as I described earlier, as we discussed earlier in the previous example, they are made so that the user could assign their own arguments and create completely custom object, so they don't tie it up to only using only using one argument or two arguments, or you might not know all the arguments that you have to pass, so you just make no argument, or so-called default constructor. They also call it default constructor, default or no argument constructor. So you might hear no argument constructor, might hear default. That's the same thing. Alright, so this one is gonna be public circle takes no arguments, and we set the radius equal to 0.0. So, I mean, it's not obligatory that you have to use both constructors. I mean, some programs you use only one constructor, another program you use both, and third program you might use the default constructor. So, depending on depends on the program which one you use. So, for this one, we are done with our constructors. So now we would need to build or create a function named, or a method named setRadius, a mutator method for the radius field. So for this one, we'll pretty much write this method like this, as follows: public set. I think we could do it as a void because we don't want to return any value in here. So let me just double check, because I already made this program on my other computer. So I'll just open that up. Okay, circle. Let's see how I did it. I probably did public void. Public double get radius, public void set radius. Yes, I did it as a void because I don't have to return. I just set the value to the variable, so I don't have to return it. So public void, that means no return, set radius. And of course, since I am setting the radius, I need to pass it some radius value, right? So some radius variable to store that setting, right? So I'll pass a double, let's say R. And in here, I set the radius, which is that radius, right? Equal to R. So whatever R is, whatever the radius of the circle would be, that will set the value of it, right? So I pass a double R and I say radius equals to R. So whatever R is, the radius will become, and then it will set things around, okay? So then I'll write this, I'll comment on here, a mutator method, mutator or setter method to set the radius value. Okay, so next thing that we want to do here, it says get radius and accessor method to for the radius field. So this one is gonna get the radius, right? So public. Now this is not gonna be void because it's getting the value and we need it to be returned. So void, public double get radius. We're not passing anything, and it's gonna return the radius. So it's gonna get the radius from the user, set it to get the radius. Then it's gonna set the radius to whatever user selected it, or whatever user set it to. Get area returns the area of the circle, which is calculated as area equals to pi times the radius times radius. So pretty much a method that does the calculation. So it's an accessor method public get public area. Let's make it a double get area, and we're not passing anything. Whoa. Missing the curly brackets. You don't want to miss those. All right. So we're gonna do double area equals to radius. What is it? Pi times radius times radius. Times the area will hold the value, and then we're gonna return it. So the return is the calculation, right? We know that, right? Times radius. Okay, so and then return area, and then return. All right, return area, and then so this is gonna be accessors. Okay, accessor methods, right? And then we return what else we need? Probably area. Then we need the same one for the diameter, and so we have public double get diameter, not passing anything. Diameter is calculated how? Diameter equals radius times 2, of course. So diameter, so it's gonna be double diameter equals radius times 2, and then we return diameter. All right, what's in? You don't want to miss this. Okay, so and then finally we want to do some circumference, right? So public public double circumference. We'll say get circumference. All right. Okay, and then public double. I have to use the right curly brackets. Okay, so circumference, so double circumference equals equals 2 times pi times radius. 2 times times radius. And we return the circumference. All right, so that's done. Good. All right, so now writing program that demonstrates the circle class by asking the user for the circle, for the circle's radius, creating a circle object, and then creating a circle object, and then reporting the circle's area, diameter, and circumference. So now that we have a class written, we go to the main program, right? And the first thing we want to do is create an object, right? Really, we can create just one object, but since we have two constructors, just for the heck of it, we're gonna create two objects. So let's create public circle. Oh no, excuse me, circle. So let's notate this. Okay, creating an instances. Creating instances of a circle. Okay. So circle, I'll call it C1 equals new circle. With this one, we'll use the constructor that has, but look, since I have a default constructor, I don't really have to, oh, what am I doing? Since I have a default constructor, it will not complain. The system will not complain that I don't have any arguments. Though I have another constructor with the arguments, the system will not complain about it because it has a default constructor. If the user misused the constructor that has the argument, it will just use the default one, so that the user will know. Oh, okay. I mean, not the user. The developer, the user, doesn't really matter. They will know. Okay. So I use the default one, so I'm required to use that second one. So because when you have a default constructor, it automatically runs it. Okay, so this one, let's use this one. We'll use this one with the argument. So we have a what? This one we have with where is it? A radius, right? So we'll use radius. I don't know. Tested something. I don't know. Radius of 2. I don't know. Whatever. Right. No, that's not the string, so we'll set 2 as a radius, right? And then the second one. Actually, no. Let's use the default first one with the default. And then the second one we'll use with the radius set to whatever. It doesn't have to be precise number. It's just to show that you know how to use constructors. It's not going to be used in this program either. So just new circle with the radius. Like when you call the second constructor, is going to, take the value of the radius equal to 2. Right? So now we have two circles, C1, which is our circle that we're going to use, and C2, which is just circle. If you want to use it, you can use it. So now the program tells us this. So we created our circles. We have 2 of them. So ask the user, we need to ask the user for the circle's radius. So how do we do this? Well, that brings up, the fact that we need a scanner object. So since we need the scanner object, what we can do, I'm not sure about JGrasp, but the cool thing about NetBeans, if you start typing creating a scanner object right here. And if you type in, well, actually, I mean, you can go straight up here and say import java.util. But in NetBeans, I'm not sure about JGRAS, but in NetBeans, when you create, go to the class and create a scanner, keyboard equals new scanner, or scanner equals new scanner, and it'll say, okay, so something's wrong, blah, blah, blah. You click Alt Enter, and it'll say, okay, you need to import the class scanner, so it'll do it for you. But, it's a good habit to just import it. Util dot. You can just say scanner, or you can just put them all in. Doesn't really matter. So now you create a scanner object. Scanner keyboard equals new scanner. And since this is going to be an input from a keyboard, we're going to say system dot in. So it's going to take an input from a keyboard. Okay. So now we are asking the user to input this. What do we ask the user to do? Radius, right? So how do we do that? We ask the user. So system dot out dot print ln please enter. What do we ask here? Asking user for the circle's radius. Please enter the circle's radius. Okay. Just, I don't know. Just something like that. Alright, so then we take an input from a keyboard. So now, since we need to grab that R, remember that, the setter method, right? So we need to declare a variable. I'll refer back to my program, which I did. Hold on, excuse me. There's something tied to my wheel on my chair. Oh boy. Just whatever. I'll fix it later. Some plastic bag. Excuse me. Just distraction. Alright, so how do we do that? We declare so we declare a double R and set it and grab it in the R and store it in R. R is gonna just set it to. Okay, so we grab a double. We can create it earlier, but since we're already here, we just can create it here. It doesn't really matter. It's gonna be a local variable. Now, if you heard of a term local variable, I'm not sure if you covered the scope of a program yet. But a local variable, it's a variable that's created within a method, like within the curly braces, and it's only going to be visible to this method. But the global variable is the one you create in the beginning of a program or in the beginning of a class. So this is going to be a local variable, since this is only visible to this main class, right? Double R equals keyboard dot next double, right? Since we're grabbing the double. Alright, so now once we've done that, we call our methods. So we need also to what we need to do is to call the method over that R. We need to call the set radius method. So to R for first circle. So circle 1 equals circle 1, I'm sorry. Yeah, equals circle 1 dot get a set radius method, and we pass it an R. This is gonna be a double, right? Just make sure. No. We just do this. We don't need circle 1 equals. We just set it to R like that. So that will call the function and pass it that R, this R. It will pass this R to that function and set radius function right here. Where is it? Set the radius will run this, and it'll set the radius of whatever the user enters to that R, right? So it will just, and then we need to call our the rest of our functions. So this one, calling set radius function. Okay. So now we need to call colon, what do we need to do here? Calling our functions to basically get the values of the calculate the values of the diameter and circumference, area, diameter, and circumference, right? So calling functions, calling get functions to get to calculate the requested values. So we'll call our diameter. So for that we need our variables to store things, right? So we need area, so double area. We'll store a C1 dot get area. All right, and then we need a double diameter. I will store C1 dot diameter, get diameter, right? And we need our double circumference. That's gonna store C1 dot get circumference. Right here. All right. So, and see how easy it is in NetBeans. I'm not sure how it is in JGrasp, but going back, like yesterday, you had some issues with forgetting about that it's a method over versus that this is just a variable. C1, as soon as you type C1 dot, it gives you the clue, and you just select it. Get circumference, boom, and it does it for you. All you have to do is press semicolon in here. So it does the brackets, parentheses, whatever for you. So then you need to start actually printing out the results. So to print out the results, you do system printing out the results. Let's see. Again, you can just, make it look nice. System dot out dot print ln, and then okay. So in here, oopsie, I clicked on no. Okay, so in here we concatenate. We build our string. So then this is gonna be, let's see. Here is the data. Here's the data on a circle. I mean, you can make your own custom one. So then you type in how did I do it there? Yeah, so area. So I made a new line, passed in the area, so I'll just remove this one. Just keep it in there. So first thing is area. So we do a new line. Area. It's gonna be plus area. Then we're gonna have new line. What do we have next? Diameter. Plus diameter. And then finally we're gonna have a new line with a circumference. Circumference. All right, circumference. Let me circumference. And here we go. Now let's run our program and find out what it does. Haha. So please enter the circle's radius. Let's say 5. Boom. No problem. So as you see, no errors, no problem. It calculates it nicely. Puts out in a nice way so you can read it. So you have area 78.53975, diameter is 10, and circumference is 31.4159. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully this tutorial was useful, and I'll see you in the next one.